All right, what's good? Another uncut entry. Let me put it here. Another uncut entry this week. Quick little recap of what happened. I finished off the Forge Denim Vest. Let me grab it quickly. Boom. You got the Mandarin collar, and then the Forge Denim sort of signature look, and then obviously no sleeves. And yeah, everything stays the same proportion wise. But yeah, so that's the third product within the core collection that I've done up so far. What else? Of course, I also on the weekend I proposed to my partner of almost 10 years. So I got a fiance now. Come on. That was on Valentine's Day. And what else? What else? Yeah, just keeping consistent really with posting 8 times a day. My fitness, so going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. 3 sort of 3 pushing weights, like focused on, lifting weights. And then 2 active rest days where I'm actively boxing and whatnot. But yeah. And I also started my lean bulk, completed my first week of lean bulk. And I went from, it's very controlled. So I'm only increasing my calories by 150 to 200 calories. So before starting my lean bulk, I weighed in at 59.3 kg. So that's from cutting from 68 kg. And that took about like 9 months to get down to 59. I'm doing it slowly because I don't want to put on the weight. Like if you lose the weight fast, you could easily put it back on, So the way I sort of approached it is, to take it slowly so that my body actually acclimatizes. I don't know if that's even the way you pronounce it. So basically, so that it can, that word really, get used to the new weight, the new low weight. And then by doing it slowly, you basically just reprogram your metabolism and tolerances and blah blah blah. And yeah, no, I'm excited with my fitness, my future, obviously, with my fiance, and obviously building the brand. Everything's, falling into place slowly, bit by bit. And I think for this entry, I probably just want to highlight my relationship aspect. Like choosing your partner, that's a big thing in one's life, And for me, I think that's the thing I focused on first. Because I grew up, with both my parents, seeing both of my parents and what they had, So then my, what do you call it? My standards for, what a relationship looks like, this and that. My parents set the standard. And I don't know, for as long as I can remember, right? I've always, wanted to, find the partner that I'd, spend the rest of my life with. I'm just like a sucker for love type of shit, like a hopeless romantic. There we go. So in my teenage years, early in my teenage years, that's sort of the thing that I was just gravitating towards, really. And yeah, I found my partner age of 18, no, 19. Yeah, I was 19. She was 18. And obviously from there, I was just putting in the reps in the relationship, and obviously vice versa. She was also putting in the reps. There's there's ups and downs, there's that type of shit. And for me, it did take me 10 years to, propose. But then when I really reflect back on it, 18 and 19, even if you put in 5 years into that, so what? We would have been like 24, 23. See, that's still young. I think past the age of 25, that's when you're slightly more mature. Like getting married in your early 20s, I think it's too young. It's too young. At least for me, my benchmark is obviously my relationship with my fiance, right? And how we went about it is, yeah, we started dating very young, 18, 19. And we also, did a lot of things that you won't, couples won't usually do. Like we traveled a lot to different countries just because we both did architecture. And then with architecture, you just get to travel a lot. That was like part of like the course. And then obviously in between that, we would travel in our own sort of destination, not just like part of like the course that we were doing. And obviously that those type of experiences, brings you closer. You're in a different country, you're exploring new things, experiencing new things, and you're obviously a new couple as well. And then obviously we went through through that phase, and then we started working, and then we got to that point when we kind of slowly moving into each other's, or moving into, or living together, like slowly, to the point we ended up just living with each other for, since when? I can't remember. We've been living together for some years now. And even that, moving in together, that's a whole other aspect, like it's cool having being with your partner, and you see them, I don't know how many times a week or a month. But it's different when you start living with them and you see them every day, and then you start to see how they're like within, their own comfort space. And then you start to see the differences, the similarities, blah blah blah. And you sort of get to gauge the the compatibility aspect of like just lifestyle, And then for me and my fiance, yeah, of course we were heading the same direction and whatnot. So there wasn't much, friction there. But yeah, like I said, I think towards towards your like late 20s, that's the perfect time to, propose and get married and whatnot. That's just because that's at that age you're quite mature, you're not really a teenager no more, or that type of shit. I mean, at least for me, that's sort of the phase where I, matured. And most people, that's when they're a couple years into their career, and they're becoming, stable. So it's just basically the right time to be going about it, at least in my perspective. But yeah, no, I definitely put in. I made sure that my relationship was in check before anything else, and that wasn't like me planning it and whatnot. It's just how things unfolded. So now that my relationship is super secure. I mean, we're 10 years together. Some people would get married after a year, being together and whatnot, and then they still have that phase of getting to know each other. Like my fiance and I, yeah, we pretty much know each other. Like, come on, 10 years. Like that's it. That's a solid enough time to know your partner, so that yeah, our foundation is strong. So we just have to keep going the way we are, and then now we're just targeting our career aspect, both separately and together. And obviously for her, she's also helping me with Pioneers of Greatness, and she's practically one of the biggest investors in it. She covers a lot of things so that I can focus on building Pioneers of Greatness. And sometimes you need that type of dynamic. You need someone that has the security, the stable job, and keeps things like hold yeah, keeps things secure. And then you need someone to be taking that risk. And I think for me and her, we balance it very well. Of course she takes a lot of risks too, but it's very stable. For me, it's like risk on risk on risk. And obviously when you take on big risk, the higher the reward. So that's what I'm sort of banking on. We're both banking on. And that dynamic just balances things out. Because if I really think about it, if we were both in a corporate job or whatever, it would be, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would be difficult to take the risk, build a business on the side or some shit like that. But because I'm, part time and my full time is building Pioneers of Greatness, the 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 percentage of me making it is a lot higher than if I were to have a corporate role and then a 9 to 5, and then the time I have to build on my business is drastically reduced. But yeah, man, honestly, the way things have played out is definitely on our side. So for me, I'm grateful that this is how things unfolded in my life. Because for me, I'm not for the corporate life. I am not for that shit, honestly. For me, I want full control. And for you to have full control, you have to build a business. And building a business is hard. It's easier to stay in a corporate 9 to 5 and have a steady paycheck. Of course, there's hardships within having a corporate job and whatnot. But come on, we can't deny that building a business is a lot harder. But then it's made easier when you have a partner that has a stable corporate role. And fortunately for me, that's my fiance. But yeah, no, it's definitely a life hack of choosing or finding the right partner to spend the rest of your life with, and especially the one that fully supports what you're doing. Because if there's friction with me, imagine if my partner is against me taking a risk and building Pioneers of Greatness, then there's a friction there that's not going to work. But because she understands what I'm trying to do and we're both on the same page, then boom, it's only up from here. And when I look at successful people and whatnot, yes, they can have a successful business, but then you look at their relationship or love life or whatever, they're single. They're trying to look for that one that isn't a gold digger. Or if not, they have to find someone that's on their same level, meaning has the same level of success. So then they're not in it for the money type of shit. But because of me, my sort of journey, it's my partner's seeing me from, the ground up, from the pre-broke stage to, me making it happen, or we making it happen, and, becoming wealthy, rich financially. That's why I don't have, the only pressures I really have is making sure that this shit works, this business that I'm building, Pioneers of Greatness, because I want to start a family, to, start a family, build a family alongside building the business, and have some sort of stability, not like, I don't need like crazy stability. Like, I just need enough in order to, get things moving. Let's say if we have a kid in 2 or 3 years time, or whatever. But yeah, and with that in mind, I always said this, that I always want a home studio. Like, I want my family to be around me, when whilst I'm working and whatnot. I want to be close to them. I don't want to have like a separate office that is away from my home. You know, for me, if I will definitely build a home studio, home office where that's my main base. And then when I have a team, they will have their own offices. I mean, their own office there that they will work from, and I will just visit when I'm needed. But most of the time, I'll be in the home studio, and that's where I'll be working. Or if not, having an assistant with me that then becomes the bridge between me working in the home studio and then the team working in the office. And these are the things I'm already thinking of. And I know some people like to separate their work life and then their personal life, but for me, because with how I am with the arts, I don't separate that from my personal life. That will just, the lines are blurred. But yeah, even with like fitness, I want everything to be in-house. So I don't need to leave my house to work out, to do my to work on the business. And that's sort of the future I'm working towards, and the future that I prefer. But yeah, honestly, what a crazy past week, especially with me proposing, because my fiance did not see it. She just thought that we would go to our, one of our favorite, you could say favorite hiking spot, and she just thought that we're going there for Valentine's and, be out of the house type of thing. But then yeah, I proposed and she was super shocked because she just didn't see it coming, because I we talk about marriage and stuff, proposing, blah blah blah, but I specifically said, oh, you might need to wait like 5 years. And then she was like, I've already waited 10 years, and then da 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 da. Because my mindset with like proposing and marriage, I always thought that I needed to have a stable job in order to do all those things. But then it got to that point where, no, man, what the fuck? Why do I need to wait for me to be financially stable, this and that? Just do it now, man. Do it. Like, I'm working a part-time bar job, right? That's definitely not stable. You know, I'm building Pioneers of Greatness in its early stage. It's not stable. But if you're constantly waiting until you become, this and that, you're gonna be waiting your whole lifetime. That's why there was that switch. I was like, nah, fuck it. I gotta do it now. Now or never. I mean, it's my main thing was like, we're turning 10 years this year. I can't wait any longer. Or I can't make her wait any longer than 10 years. So boom, I did it on Valentine's. But yeah, that's why now it's crazy because nothing really changes, you know. But it's just the whole experience of it, knowing that yeah, we're gonna end up getting married now since I proposed. And then now I just feel like, you know, I can fucking rule the world now. Like, who the fuck stopping me, man? Come on. I've got my partner secured. You know, you got people looking for a partner all their life and never find one. I'm secured, man. I'm young. I'm in my late 20s, approaching my early 30s. Bro, nothing stopping me at all. Like all this, man, I'm gonna just fucking go through it, man. There's this video that I saw actually. It said the 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 bigger you dream, the what do you call it? The hardship that you have to go through, it will be as equal. You know, so if you dream fucking huge, the hardship that you would have to go through um in order to achieve that will be equal. But now that I have, you know, my partner in crime sorted, I don't give a fuck how hard it gets, you know. All I know is I will reach that finish line, you know, and it's just a matter of time. And yeah, I think that's it for this week. I'm out. Peace.